Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about the Donald Trump's decision. We can say the initial decision he has taken as the 47th President of United States is to pull US out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Now obviously it is not surprising because the similar decision he also took when he became the President of USA in his first term. So in this video, we will try to discuss that as this decision of the United States from withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement is already final, what is going to be its broader implications both at the global stage as well as from the perspective of India. Now to give you the brief background of this particular topic, the White House, which is obviously the official residence of the President of the United States, it has confirmed that the Donald Trump will once again withdraw United States from the Paris Climate Agreement, marking obviously, as you discussed, second exit in less than a decade. Now obviously this is not surprising because this decision aligns with the overall policy that Trump has, where he is skeptical about the global warming. Continuously he has maintained his stance that global warming is nothing, or the climate change that is a result of global warming is nothing but a hoax, that is something which has been blown out of proportion, and he seeks to free US oil and gas industries from the environmental regulation, because the oil and gas sector is one of the major pollutant and the emitter of the greenhouse gases responsible for global warming. So such kind of decision and such kind of approach helps him in pushing the interest of oil and gas sector, which he also is doing for his political interest, as these workers, as the people from these sectors makes up his core voting base or support base. So after this decision, US has joined a club of countries such as Libya in the Africa. We have countries such as Iran in the West Asia, as well as Yemen in the Arabian Peninsula, who are not party of the Paris Climate Agreement anymore. So Libya, Yemen, Iran and United States, these are the countries as of now. All of the countries, as you can see, are the parties to the Paris Climate Agreement. Some of them have even ratified the agreement. Now, before moving further in this video, let us try to understand briefly what is Paris Climate Agreement. So this was the agreement that countries signed in the 2015 under the Conference of Parties meeting that took place under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. And under this agreement, the countries were given a target to reduce the greenhouse gases emission, and overall collectively the entire world set up a target that we will limit the average global temperature increase to less than 2 degrees centigrade to achieve net zero emissions by mid-century. Now this 2 degrees Celsius is what we aim for, but even the Paris Climate Agreement says that we should even go for lower figure of 1.5 degrees Celsius. We should try our best to limit the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of this century. The second part of the agreement largely also focuses upon building up the resilience capacity as well as taking up appropriate adaptation measures to such climate impacts which are definitely or certainly going to occur. For example, we know that as a result of global warming, sea level is going to rise. So for the coastal communities, countries should take certain steps and measures to ensure their well-being. And third part of the agreement focuses upon aligning of financial flows largely from the developed nation to developing nations with these objectives in mind. So that is overall what you can say is the essence of the Paris Climate Agreement. Now obviously, since US has withdrawn from this agreement, this kind of restriction or targets do not apply to their economy. Now the global reaction has been varied. For example, you talk about the Trump's decision to withdraw US from this particular pact comes at that time when many countries, many global leaders are advocating for more substantial cuts and promoting the green energy. So the decision has prompted concern among both global leaders as well as environmental advocates. In this context, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that even Trump has decided to withdraw from Paris Agreement, I believe that US cities, US states and US businesses would continue to push for low carbon economic growth despite the federal government's withdrawal. And the move comes at that time when nations are being urged to take aggressive action to combat climate change. Now, why aggressive action is required today? Because as per the recent report published by the United Nations Agency, it is observed that we are on a track for 3 degrees Celsius temperature rise by the end of the century would not make drastic cuts in the GHG emission now. So you can imagine we have given ourselves a target of 2 degrees Celsius, even if possible 1.5 degrees Celsius. That is the maximum limit up to which we can let the global temperature increase. But we are on the track for 3 degrees Celsius temperature rise. That will cause a heavy amount of rise in the sea level, or high scale of rise in the sea level, that will cause flooding of large scale areas along the coastlines of the countries. Apart from that, it will also cause extreme weather events, such as whether it is heat waves, whether it is cold waves, or increase in the intensity and the strength of the hurricanes, tornadoes and all that. So as a result of not only rise of sea level, but also because of extreme weather event, we can see a drastic economic losses to all the countries in the coming future. Now this stance of Trump is different, or we can say it is quite opposite from the past administration. For example, if you compare the past administration led by the President Joe Biden, he has taken climate change to be a central pillar of administration. That means during his presidency, he has focused on putting as much restriction as possible on the oil and gas sector in terms of the emissions. He also wanted to portray United States as a leader in the global climate effort, and Trump is going on the opposite end of the spectrum. Also, the regulations and subsidies is something that Joe Biden has implemented to promote clean energy and move away from reliance on fossil fuel. And it is this decision that Trump has criticized in the first speech after inauguration, and he has said that he will completely reverse it. All the subsidies and the regulations that were to promote clean sector, it will be removed, and oil and gas sector will be promoted. And that is why he has talked about that we will focus, or his administration will emphasize on drill baby drill. That means US has one of the largest reserve of oil and gas, and he wants to take advantage of it. And by bringing it such a huge amount of revenue, he wants to make the life of American consumers easier by reducing the inflation rate and by increasing the productivity of the economy, as well as boosting employment rate as well. So that is why we are talking about that his policy is quite departure from the past. He has committed to reversing many of the Biden's policies, as we have discussed, and the reason he has given is obviously because of such decision to promote the oil and gas sector. It will help US in balancing the federal budget, where the budget deficit, or we can say revenue deficit, can be minimized. Also, it will help in growing of the economy. But he also has said that we are extracting oil and gas to a much more lesser extent than we should. And even while we are doing that at optimal level, the American consumers can be assured of clean air and water. So he has completely downplayed any kind of environmental threats. He has said that American consumers will not face any problem by his particular approach. However, his decision is also drawing a lot of criticism, because when US is amending the Paris Accord, many experts argue that it could set US back in the global race to dominate clean energy market. Today, almost all the countries across the globe believes that the green energy, the tapping up of solar power potential, the promotion of electrical vehicles, all these are the right path on which we should move ahead. But if US withdraw from it, obviously it will leave the room for China to seize leadership as far as the clean energy goes. Not only that, it will also weaken the United States' ability to compete in these critical markets. As I told you that Trump administration is going to remove all the subsidies, all the benefits to the clean energy sectors. So obviously they will not be having enough wherewithal to participate and compete in the critical markets, at least the global stage, and at a time when clean energy is seen as the future of the global economy. So maybe US, by pushing for more oil and gas growth, maybe they will be able to increase the productivity of the economy, increase the revenue, increase the employment. But overall, we can say at the global stage, they are set for what many experts believe to be a failure, and they will lose the status of leadership as far as the clean energy is concerned, and China can emerge as the real leader. So that is all about this particular video. I hope you got the gist of the decision taken by Trump, its overall impact. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you.